Hi, Chris. Another all-time awesome San Diego sunset on this final Friday of 2001. Final game for Washington and Texas, two teams that had bigger dreams a little while ago. And as with every bowl game, questions abound pregame, significant ones here. Let's take Washington first. 34 days since their loss to Miami. How scarred are they? Are they that bad? Can they handle another team that has better physical talent in Texas? And as for the Longhorns, it's been 27 days since the disappointing loss. They were this close to being a couple hours north of here at Pasadena and the Rose Bowl presented by AT&T playing for the championship. They're not. They're here at the Holiday Bowl for the second straight year. Where's their momentum? How do they rally the troops? How will they respond? How is their running back, their star as well? For more on that down on the field, pregame check with Dr. Jerry Punch. Doc?
Well, Mike, as kickoff approaches, if you're a Longhorn fan, you're wondering about their phenomenal true freshman running back, Cedric Benson, who was injured back on December 1st in the Big 12 championship game, bruised to the nerve in the right shoulder, causing a decreased range of motion and weakness. He had not practiced until 4 days ago, and in fact, had not had any contact until about 4 or 5 minutes ago. This is pregame warm-ups. This is Mad Dog Madden, the conditioning coach, hitting Benson on that right shoulder. Moments later, they gave Benson the football. Could he hang on? Yes, he did. That's the big question for Mac Brown and the Longhorns. Can Benson hold on to the football? Over on the Washington sideline, sophomore quarterback Cody Pickett injured his right shoulder. That's his throwing arm back in the middle of October. He is about 70% strength-wise. The big concern there, if they have to throw the football, will he be able to get through the third and fourth quarter without any significant fatigue? So concerns on both sidelines for Washington and the Longhorns. Michael?
Bevo is here and ready. So are we. Chris, see you in a bit for Verge Friday. So log on, tune in, and let's kick it off in a few.
Tell me. Out of Texas and Washington, guys, going to want to get your thoughts on this matchup here. We heard the report. Cedric Benson will try to go, but how effective can he be with that pinched nerve up here?
Well, I don't know that he can be that effective. Anytime you have a running back that's running with a shoulder injury, it tends to make them less physical. I think Washington is going to be geared up to stop the run, even if Benson isn't in there. Larry Triplett, their fine defensive tackle, will be concentrating on tying up two blockers and getting penetration. If he can do that, he'll be able to make Texas a one-dimensional offense, a passing team, which might help Washington greatly.
Yeah, but with or without Cedric Benson, Texas has the advantage with athletes on both sides of the ball. Washington wants to keep this game close because Rick Neuheisel's players are better in close games than Texas.
Oh, among the fans tuning in to watch this Culligan Holiday Bowl, the first fan, President Bush from Texas, happened to know he's a big Longhorn fan. Here's his plans for the evening.
This afternoon it gets dark here about 5:30, and so I'll probably watch a little University of Texas football tonight.
Mr. President, we also invite you to log on Verge Friday. Watch Major Applewhite return to the starting lineup. The Longhorns and the Huskies coming up next.
Texas first Washington. With a solid ground game and Roy Williams through the air, Major Applewhite has all the weapons in his first start all season. While Washington's Cody Pickett and go-to guy Reggie Williams will need to be perfect against the nation's #1 defense. Will the Longhorn D spoil the Huskies' holiday? The Culligan Holiday Bowl next.
And we are live on a glorious night in San Diego for one of the annual highlights of Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN. It is the 24th Culligan Holiday Bowl. Second in the Pac-10, number 20 in the land, Washington. Number 9 in the champions of the South in the Big 12, the Longhorns of Texas. Good evening, everyone. Mike Tirico, so glad you're with us here on the final Friday of 2001. 65-7 was the Washington story at number 1 Miami. Soured a successful season. So what's going on for the Huskies tonight? Simple. Their motivation is redemption. As for Texas, one of those 5 superpower teams that had it in their hands, a chance to win the championship, play for it at least in the Rose Bowl a couple hours north of here. Didn't get it done in the Big 12 championship game. They have the talent. The question is, what kind of passion are they going to play with tonight here in San Diego? I'm joined as always by Lee Corso and Kirk Herbstreit. And guys, it is Major Applewhite, who didn't start a game all year, starting his final game of his career here this evening.
Well, Mac Brown told us yesterday the reason that Major Applewhite will get to start in this game is the momentum that he created in the Big 12 championship game, where he nearly brought back the Longhorns from a 19-point deficit. Major Applewhite has been here before. In fact, this will be his 30th career start. The thing I love about the guy is he's a competitor. He's 21-8 as a starter.
you got to go back to 1999 where Major Applewhite was the Big 12 Co-Offensive Player of the Year. After all that he's been through, he still was able to deliver in that Big 12 championship game because he was mentally sound and positive after what he had been through. He'll be fine tonight as a starter. But Dr. Jerry Punch, I think the real question for the Longhorns will be the health of their premier running back, Cedric Benson.
Exactly, Herbie. It was 27 days ago in the Big 12 championship game that Benson sustained a bruise and stretch in the nerves in the right side of his neck and shoulder, producing a loss of range of motion and weakness in the right arm. The range of motion came back in about a week, but the weakness has not. It was not until 4 days ago that Cedric Benson practiced, and he had not had any contact until about 5 minutes ago. In pregame warm-ups, Mac Brown decided to see if the young man had enough strength in his right hand and right arm to be able to take on a hit. So they had some warm-ups there, and here's how the doctors are going to check him. In the locker room, they had him hold a 1-pound bottle of water out to the right side of his arm at 90 degrees for 30 seconds. If he can hold it up for 30 seconds, the strength is coming back. Until 2 days ago, he could not do that. Now he can. Now Victor Ike will start, and the big question is how much of Cedric Benson will play. Well, it's still a game-time decision. They're looking at him right now. Ike will be the starter. Benson may play. And, Mike, that true freshman is certainly the catalyst for this Longhorn offense.
Well, Doc, the same is true over on the Washington side. Coach, they've got the best true freshman receiver in the country, and a guy named Reggie Williams.
Well, you know, Reggie Williams is a superstar, and he's a freshman. He opened the season against Michigan, and all he did against the Big Blue was catch 4 passes for 134 yards. Now, he's 6'5", 215 pounds. And the key to this kid is watch him. Be careful, Texas, because the first time Washington gets in the red zone, I would not be surprised if old Reggie gets in the end zone and tries a jump ball over the corners from Texas. This guy is a super player and could be the difference in Washington winning this football game or not.
He goes head-to-head against Quentin Jammer,
yes, sir.
maybe the best covered corner in the country. We got Roy Williams from Texas, Mike Williams on the Texas offensive front,
They got
Larry
all over there.
Tony Pickett. Let's get it on. We got great football tonight from San Diego, the 2001 Culligan Holiday Bowl. Also, log on your computer, go online. We'll tell you why it's going to be a special night in San Diego as Bowl Week continues. The eyes of Texas are upon you all the livelong day. 2001 was another step forward in the eyes of Texas, winning like they haven't seen in 4 decades. The Major's back in the saddle with his 44 school records and a high-octane offense. Along with the nation's #1 defense, tonight the Longhorns look to stamp the season with a stampede. This era of Washington football has started out rather nicely with Rick Neuheisel at the helm. The Huskies have become college football's cardiac pack. Tonight, they're underdogs again, but that's okay. It's just another Washington opportunity to prove that they belong with the nation's best. In one of the nation's best cities, we welcome you to San Diego, California, the 24th Culligan Holiday Bowl. Overcast, but weather won't be a factor. It never is when we're in San Diego. Well, you've been hearing all day. This is Birds Friday on ESPN. The convergence of TV and the internet to enjoy tonight's game. See all the items. The headline, I think, is real-time coaching with real coaches. And they are joined here in San Diego by Steve Seifert. Steve?
Mike, I'm privileged to be sitting next to 2 men with 67 years of college coaching experience. Jim Donnan and Dick Tomey have had unique access to the Husky and Longhorn staffs leading up to this game. And tonight they'll wear the ESPN.com head coaching hats and share that knowledge and their perspective online throughout the game. First, Coach Donnan, you're heading up the Huskies. What do you say in the pregame talk?
Can't wait to play, Steve. This is a great night for football. We got to get that bad taste out of our mouths, that Miami game. Get the game to the 4th quarter. We're the best 4th quarter team in America.
Coach Tomey, you're the Longhorns boss. Do you script the first 15 plays, something like that?
The Longhorns don't script plays, Steve, but the Longhorns do want to play this football game very badly coming off the Colorado game. The big thing I would say in the locker room is finish it, because you have to finish it against this outstanding team from Washington. They played great in the 4th quarter. You have to double beat them. You have to finish every block, every tackle, every run, everything you do, and not get in a tight game in the 4th quarter with this Husky team.
All right, fair enough. Well, he's talking about finishing, Mike. We're just getting started, so log on.
All right, Steve, and we'll visit with you guys during the night. There's Mac Brown on the Texas side, 4 years in Austin, 4 bowl games, 9, 9, 9, and 10 the win total. Other side, Rick Neuheisel, 3 years in Seattle, 3 bowl games. Holiday Bowl 2 years ago, won the Rose Bowl last year, back in San Diego again tonight. As we say, at this point, every year, every time you come to San Diego, you wonder, why don't we live here? It's a great place, a terrific bowl setting. Texas will kick to Washington, and we're underway in the 2001 Holiday Bowl. Brock Alexander from the 4. Down the seam, and still on his feet. Alexander brings it out to the 47-yard line. 43-yard return. It's an excellent set of special teams for the Huskies. He'll be led out by Cody Pickett, the sophomore quarterback, in his first year starting. He played the last half of the season with a separated right shoulder. He's tough, but good. With him in the backfield, the offensive MVP of the year, senior Willie Hurst. Walker's mostly a blocker. Williams caught 55. He's the freshman. Elstrom, a senior, 35 catches. First game that Jeremy Stevens is really healthy, coming off the broken bone in his foot. Drive starts from the 47. Here is Hurst. 5 to the Texas 48. Wrestled down by Ahmad Brooks, the senior from Abilene, and right away, some attitude from both sides. Check the men blocking for Hurst. Kyle Benn, the guy in the middle, was the lone returning starter. Kept them together, first team Pac-10. Everyone else emerged as the season went on. Here's Texas up front.
Texas is number 6 in the nation in run defense. The key, aggressive play up front. Number 40, Corey Redding, the 5th leading tackler on the football team.
6'5", 260, out of Houston. 2nd and 5. It is Hurst again. He'll get only a yard. Active safeties. Ahmad Brooks made the first tackle. Nathan Vasher, the strong safety, makes the second tackle. Here's the back 7 for the Longhorns. D.D. Lewis in the middle. 3 seniors back there, but Lewis makes his 51st and final start more than anybody in the history of UT football.
Well, Carl Reese, the defensive coordinator, believes in attacking style. He'll play a lot of man coverage, and he'll overload the box because he has 4 defensive backs that are really 4 corners, including the 2 safeties. They can all run.
3rd and 4, needing to get to the yellow line for the first down. In man coverage, they tried to get it to Williams, but Quentin Jammer was right over there with him. That's the matchup. Best covered corner in the country, best true freshman receiver in the country.
That's the matchup to watch tonight. Reggie Williams is highly touted. He had a great rookie year in the Pac-10. And Quentin Jammer, he didn't have a lot of opportunities to make plays this year because the team's going away from him and going towards Roderick Babers. But tonight, I think Washington has confidence in Reggie Williams, and they will test Quentin Jammer.
Despite the good field position, no first down, and Derek McLaughlin, freshman, who had 5 punts blocked this year, will kick it away. Bounce out of bounds at the 14. Kick of 33, and Major Applewhite will have a long field to deal with. 44 career Texas records, 21-8 as a starter, and the final game in the Burnt Orange, he starts for the Longhorns. Victor Ike will get the start because of the injury to Cedric Benson, the 1,000-yard rushing freshman. The receivers are just terrific, all sophomores. Sloan Thomas, Roy Williams, B.J. Johnson, but they all had key drops in this game last year. Bo Scapes, the tight end.
Talent-wise, they're as good as any group in the country. They can all really get up and down the field.
Drive start at the 14. Applewhite throw. Complete to Williams. 7 to the 21 on Chris Massey, the sophomore from out here in California, Moreno Valley. To show you what's going on, battle in the trenches. The guys center and right. Anderson, Kirk Hughes, and Williams seniors. Williams likely a top 10 NFL draft pick in April.
Randy Hart, the defensive line coach for Washington, told me before the game, this is the best offensive line they will have seen all year. And they've seen some good ones in the Pac-10. He says Larry Triplett, their all-star, needs to step up and make plays for him tonight.
Pickup of 8, 2nd and 2. The give to Victor Ike. Runs forward for the first down at the 27. Good second effort for the junior from Austin. His job until Cedric Benson emerged this year. There's motivation for Victor tonight. Here's the back 8 for the Huskies. The linebacking core, Madavi's a great story. Walk-ons become a good tackler. Jamon Williams, they're strongest on the inside.
The secondary, number 12, Omari Lowe, leads the Huskies defensive backs. He led Washington tackles against Michigan. In fact, he had a 21-yard touchdown return for a touchdown against the Big Blue to help win that game.
That's the unit that's got to get it done tonight. Ike is popped on the first down run. Greg Carruthers up from his strong safety spot. Kid from Montana made the play.
I want to say something. Randy Hart's a very fine defensive coach, but if he thinks the Texas offensive line is better than Miami, I think he needs another thinking.
Well,
because there's no way that Texas's offensive line can compare with the offensive line of Miami that we've seen, who scored 60-some against that Washington.
Yeah, that's right. Last game they played, I think more than anything, he said that physically this is probably the most imposing offensive line that they've seen.
Matt Trissel, the fullback in motion. Applewhite to Roy Williams. Had a block out there, but Omari Lowe made enough of a play to knock him to the ground. 3rd and long coming up. Here's Doc Punch on the sideline.
And guys working the Longhorn bench and their doctors. Cedric Benson did indeed pass the water bottle test, holding the bottle up in the locker room, but they have determined he did not have enough strength to hold the football and take a lick. And therefore, the word is that Benson will not play. Again, Benson will not play. It is Victor Ike all the way tonight for the Longhorns.
Well, if they get a first down or next drive, we'll talk about how that impacts this Texas offense. Whole different game without number 32. This is 3rd and 14, needing to get to the 38. Applewhite dumps down to Brett Robin. Tackled, 35. Marquise Cooper, backup linebacker in there to get the sophomore running back Robin. But he's short of the first down, and Texas will kick it away. That's Brian Bradford, your college transfer, done a nice job kicking. Charles Frederick has a punt return for touchdown and averages 14.6 per return. Charles Frederick got it on the run. And out to the 39-yard line. He returned it 11 yards. After the punt of 45, Washington takes over in good field position when we come back to San Diego. Some of the Christmas scene in Old Town, San Diego. Little Feliz Navidad. Texas here for the 2nd consecutive year. Washington for the 2nd time in 3 years. As the players said, hey, if you have to come back to a place, why not San Diego?
They do a great job. The atmosphere. John Reed just was the executive director for like 400 years. He just
21.
21. He just finally retired, and he did a great job. In fact, in 1979, I was fortunate enough to bring an Indiana team here to play against BYU. Great bowl trip.
And a great bowl game. One of the better bowl games of all time. 1st and 10 for Cody Pickett. The sophomore is in some trouble. He takes off, takes a hit as he gets out to the 43-yard line. That right shoulder is something we have to watch at all times tonight. Derek Johnson, also a true freshman, number 2 on this team in tackles. Doesn't start, but you know he's in the game. Makes quite an impact.
Derek Johnson was the Big 12 Defensive Freshman Player of the Year, and he doesn't even start the game. At 6'4", 215 from Waco, Texas. He is a superstar in the making.
Future great one for Texas, and really finally gives them a physical inside linebacker. Really a gifted man. Dede Lewis is a great player, but Derek Johnson is physically talented.
2 tight ends, 1 back, and they will throw it towards Williams, who caught it on Quentin Jammer. That's a first down at the 48-yard line.
Pretty physical here, and that's the way it's going to be between these two, because it's going to be one-on-one all night. Very little safety support behind Quentin Jammer. Find out who's going to be the guy that's going to make the plays here. A lot of shoving, a lot of pushing back and forth. And Reggie Williams showing Quentin Jammer that he's not going to back down from the senior. He makes a nice catch there and picks up the first down.
Cody Pickett was the reason why that play was complete, because he threw the ball where Jammer could not get to it. That's why it was a big
From the 48, Hurst. A couple to the 46-yard line. Not on my time, says Marcus Tubbs, the sophomore from DeSoto, Texas.
Cody Pickett lost 15 pounds from the beginning of the year. Early in the year, he had an injury. We've talked about it already tonight. Since then, he hasn't been able to lift weights. He can't even do push-ups. So he's lost a lot of weight. He's lost some velocity on his throws. And they are careful with him. This is an offense that typically they like to run the ball. They like to mix in the veer option. They have not been able to do that this year, even though he's probably faster than Marcus Tuiasosopo.
Or so he says, right? Here is Pickett tossing complete to Todd Elstrom. The senior takes it out to the 25-yard line. That's a pickup of 21 and a first down for the Huskies.
Cody Pickett this time sets up in the pocket really nice. You get good protection. And the reason why this play is good, Kirk, watch him lean forward and follow through. That was a perfect rhythm pass that got there. Kirk, I like this kid's setup. He's quicker than I thought in the film. He's really quick setting up.
Yeah, he's very quick. I think he's one of the more talented young quarterbacks you'll see in all of college football. Only a sophomore. It's his first year starting. His arm strength is probably his greatest strength. We're talking about his athleticism, but they committed to him and his throwing ability this year, and they've had some great results.
From the 25, pump and go for Wilbur Hook. Incomplete.
You know, I just absolutely love Rick Neuheisel's game plan and his offensive coordinator, Keith Gilbertson. You know who exactly they're going for in big plays? They're going for the All-American Quentin Jammer. That's one of the theories that I always used to like. You always attack an opponent at its strength. Because if you could beat him at this strength, you demoralize him. So if you could beat Quentin Jammer, then you demoralize the Texas team. And that Rick Neuheisel is a brilliant offensive coach with Keith Gilbertson. That's the theory they're using. Going after the strength to beat the strength, demoralize the Texas defense.
2nd and 10. Elstrom in motion. They throw again. A lot of throws here.
Pickett.
Incomplete for Jeremy Stevens, the huge tight end, 6'7", 260. Come back to Cody Pickett for a second. Caldwell, Idaho, sophomore, and to replace Marcus Tuiasosopo. And he came in this year and set some significant school records. And we talk about sophomore passing yards. You think of the guys who've been there: Conklin, Brunell, Holbert. Go back to Sonny Six-Killer, of course. Quarterback history. Washington's had greats. I didn't mention the best of all of them, and Warren Moon. When you set passing records at this school, you're good.
He's also tough. He's played with injury and pain all year long and been able to hang in there and come up with some great games.
3rd and 10. First option on open. Hurst out of the backfield. He couldn't get turned around. Now he has beaten D.D. Lewis. Neuheisel knows his team might have 6 instead of trying for 3.
The whole thing is going to be whether or not they're going to be able to protect Cody Pickett, because Washington has the athletic ability at running back and wide receiver and tight end to beat the man coverage that Texas will apply. So if they can protect Pickett tonight, they're going to have opportunities to score points.
John Anderson, 2nd-team All-League, a field goal attempt of 43 yards. Powerful leg, sometimes inaccurate, better from between the hash marks. That thing, folks, is in Mexico. That wasn't even close. Good drive. No points. Texas ball when you come back to San Diego.
Part by Christ.
24th year of the Culligan Holiday Bowl. 4th year. It's the Pac-10 against the Big 12. Been here for all 4 and seen some terrific matchups. Nebraska, Arizona, Washington, Kansas State. Last year, Texas and Oregon, 35-30 shootout. Chris Sims started for the Longhorns that game. Major Applewhite tonight. Victor Wright, who had a kickoff return for touchdown in that game, gains just a couple of yards on first down. If you're just joining us, Cedric Benson, the 1,053-yard true freshman, will not play because of the stinger in his shoulder. What does that do, guys, to the Texas offensive game plan?
Well, let me tell you what I think it does. First of all, we saw Oklahoma, Texas without Benson, and Texas did not score a touchdown because they had no offensive balance. I think that's really going to hurt Texas tonight, to not have him, Benson, running the football, Kirk.
2nd and 8. From the 27. One back there on Ike, who will have the first down as he put his head down and ran right over Alexander.
And we're going to see how, as this game progresses, Lee, that I think Oklahoma had a lot to do with Texas not being able to run that day, whether Benson was in there or Ike or Ivan Williams. I think Victor Ike gives you speed in the backfield. I think it changes the game plan without Benson in there. I think now they rely more on their passing ability, the short passing game of Major Applewhite. They're going to have to try to throw. Before, they relied on Benson to establish the run, make the safeties commit down, and then have one-on-one opportunities on the outside. Unless Victor Ike can get it going early tonight, they're going to have to start throwing more.
From the 36, out of the three-wide set, you'll see a lot from the Longhorns. Applewhite throw to B.J. Johnson. Out to the 40. 23 first down yards for the sophomore from Grand Prairie.
It's an opportunity here on 1st and 10. Texas early in this game has shown a tendency to run the football, so Washington is starting to come up to the line. Safeties are coming in and really trying to take that away. There's some openings there. That was a good call. Straight drop back. Nice job by Major Applewhite. Talk about rhythm and getting back there. That time, I think Major Applewhite showed that's his strength, getting back and getting rid of the football.
Adjusting this 1st and 10 play. The senior from Baton Rouge gives to Ike. A couple of yards. Larry Triplett's helmet came off in the tackle pile. Marcus Roberson was in there as well. Triplett, first-team All-Pac-10 senior out of L.A., closing out his college career tonight. He'll play on Sundays. Will Major Applewhite play on Sundays? Probably not as a star, maybe as a backup quarterback in the long run, but the moxie of a Major Applewhite and the intangibles that he brings has so defined his Texas career. 44 school records.
Second down, 8 to go. At the 39-yard line.
That's going his entire senior season without starting a game until tonight. 2nd and 8. Deflected at the line of scrimmage. Ben Madavi.
The thing I think that is very, very important for people to appreciate about Major Applewhite is imagine being the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year as a sophomore, only to lose your job for the next 2 years, battle through some injuries, for them to call on you your senior year, the last game of the year in the Big 12 championship game, and for you to mentally be in the right frame of mind to stay positive enough through all that time to come through and deliver. That says a lot about his character.
They bring Brent Robbins down at the bottom of the screen. 5 receivers in the pattern. Applewhite throws underneath and incomplete for Roy Williams. You know, the one question I had, and Major knows these guys very well, when he hasn't started to play game tempo with them all year, is there going to be a timing issue as this game gets going between QB and receiver?
Well, I think because a lot of these receivers he's worked with in the past and in game situations, not so much this year, but in the past last year. So you might see that early in the game, but I think as the game goes on and they get a better feel for what Washington's doing on defense, I think they'll get in sync.
Ryan Bradford tries to pooch it down there. Fair caught by Willie Hurst at the 10. Long field for Washington with this drive. After the 31-yard kick, to remind you what goes on in the Lone Star State tomorrow. Capital One Bowl Week continues with Cliff Kingsbury and Ricky Williams of Texas Tech. The Red Raiders will take on Khalil Hill and the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Sylvania Alamo Bowl presented by Siemens. Texas Tech, Iowa, 3:30 Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. Good games this afternoon, Capital One Bowl Week. Defensive struggle that A&M dominated, and then Boston College beating Georgia before us. First down run for the backup running back, Rich Alexis, who had nearly 400 yards this year. The sophomore takes it out for 13.
Tough to run inside against this Texas defense. A lot of people thought last year when they lost Casey Hampton and Sean Rogers it could be a dip. And Marcus Stubbs and Maurice Gordon on the inside have done a really good job. And as Lee mentioned earlier, Derek Johnson's emergence as a true freshman along with D.D. Lewis in the middle. It's tough to run up the middle against the Longhorns.
2nd and 8. Pass. First option's covered. Pickett pumps and goes and gets out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Third and about a yard. He actually could have picked up the first down, as you saw by the yellow line. Heck of a lot easier to make that judgment with the line in there, and when you don't have a 200-pounder chasing you as well. Well, Rick Neuheisel's team had to invent some things offensively. They were so good running the ball, replaced 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line, and had 100 fewer yards per game this year.
I think that number is interesting because the thing that made them commit to the throw was the injury to Cody Pickett. This offense last year, think about how many times you saw the option from Tuiasa Soko. They may not have run it that much this year with Pickett, but they would have run it a lot more if he were healthy.
Pickett had trouble with that snap, and Alexis got popped. D.D. Lewis was able to make the hit up top as the surge came with Everett Rawls and Nathan Vasher.
And Marcus Tubbs, number 95, 6'4", 295 pounds from DeSoto, Texas, was the guy that penetrated and caused the line of scrimmage to move back. That's why they stopped that play cold.
Another punt for Washington with McLaughlin to kick. And another challenging kick return man, Nathan Vasher, who just makes things happen when he touches the ball. High kick. Fair caught. 39-yarder. And we'll add 5 with a bubble violation from our Mountain West officiating crew. Well, they knew the Thursday night crew was coming, so they brought the Mountain West guys for the game tonight. It's a good crew. Ken Rivera is the referee. As you've seen all day and all during Capital One Bowl week, neutral conferences in bowl games.
Violation of the 2-yard goal. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So Texas will have it in good field position, just shy of midfield, when Major Applewhite and the Longhorn offense comes back. Coach, what do we say pregame about these guys?
Oh, that's a band.
That's a good-looking band.
That's a good-looking band, boy. And you can't help it but stand up and put the horn sign when they play the Eyes of Texas. It just, it takes over. Orlando, Columbus, Detroit, Ann Arbor, you stand up. It comes into your heart and soul.
Scoreless here with 3:31 in the first quarter. On Verge Friday, part of our bowl coverage, complete interaction, convergence of television and the internet tonight. Hope you logged on at ESPN.com and joined the work of Jim Donnan and Dick Tomey as they real-time play head coach for these two teams. Applewhite protected the ball, got it in the hands of Roy Williams. For the 39, first down. 13 yards.
Interesting call. Roy Williams, number 4, 6'5", 210. Listen to this. He's run 6 reverses in his career for an average of 21.5 and 2 touchdowns. If you don't have a good running back and Cedric Benson's gone, give it to the wideout to run. That's a tremendous call right there by Greg Davis, the offensive coordinator. Get the ball in the hands of Roy Williams, and he can score.
First and 10 from the 38. Another reverse. This is Tony Jeffrey. He spins to the 23-yard line. Pulled down by Zach Tuiasa Soko, but they pick up 13 and 15 with the same play.
The reason I'm surprised they went to it a second time, but the reason they went to it the first time is Washington's defense is so aggressive here in the early going, and they're flying to the football. That the coaches upstairs obviously saw that, and they went downstairs. They said, hey, let's try to come back with the reverse. The second time, you would think that Washington would be a little bit more prepared and slow down and be ready, but another big game.
The reason why those plays worked is because they have extra time in a bowl week to practice on.
Victor Ike. Larry Triplett, first team all-conference, and you see why right there. He beat the block and made it a no-gain play.
Well, with the health of Jerome Stevens, they get him back. They're able to move him, not to get too technical over here, but they're able to move him to the defensive tackle, which moves now Larry Triplett over to the nose guard position. And Randy Hart believes at the next level, that's where Larry Triplett will be successful. He has to play nose guard as opposed to playing the 3 technique. He makes more plays and gets better penetration inside there.
After no gain, 2nd and 10. There he is again. Oh, man. 2 in a row.
This is basically what Larry Triplett is known for, power and speed, and he's able to fight off the block there, and once he's able to get through Kirk Hughes' block, you can see that he has incredible hand strength to bring down the ball carrier, but his quickness at 300 pounds is why people are talking about him being one of the better defensive tackles in the country.
Well, single-handedly, he's just shut down the Texas run game, back-to-back plays. 3rd and 11, needing to get to the 13. Applewhite to Sloan Thomas. Good job by Chris Massey. Gone after him a couple times tonight. He's hung in there. It's shy of the first down, and a field goal attempt coming for Texas.
You know, you can always tell guys that end up in their careers, you go back and you look and you find out what did they play in high school. You know what Larry Triplett played in high school? Tailback. About 235, 240 pounds. He played running back. And whenever you have an athletic player who ends up moving down and putting on some weight, they never lose the athleticism, and that's why he's such a good player.
Walk-on kicker, Dusty Mangum from 35. Missed it. 2 missed field goals and no score in the first quarter. So Mangum, a walk-on kicker for Texas, who created his own website to get colleges interested in him. I don't think he'll list the picture of that field goal there. Speaking of online, we are online with our coverage of the game tonight on this Birds Friday, including pick the best Texas player of all time. Earl Campbell, Ricky Williams. Pretty good options. This is just a couple of the options. You can go log on to ESPN.com and take part in our poll via Enhanced TV. Best players in Texas football history. There's 10 from the 20, Alexis. With a couple of yards to the 22-yard line. Tommy Novus, the great linebacker, who went on to a terrific NFL career, is one of the other players on that selection panel for Texas, best all-time players. Talking about best in the history of their school, or 2 of the best quarterbacks in the history of their schools. Drew Brees on the left, Doug Flutie on the right. Doug wearing that Boston College hat proud after the Eagles win today. Of course, they are the quarterbacks for the San Diego Chargers. Pickett, the Washington quarterback, throws to Todd Elstrom. Makes the first down at the 33-yard line. Talking about great quarterbacks, Bobby Lane from Texas is the other person on the choice list at Enhanced TV. Lane, Novus, Williams, Campbell, part of the great tradition of Texas football. 4th all-time in wins among Division I programs. Only Michigan, Notre Dame, and Nebraska have one more football game. First down for the Huskies from their own 35. The fullback, Ken Walker, says hello to Nathan Vasher. Big stick, strong safety from Texarkana ends the first quarter with a 3-yard pickup. Each team ran 16 plays. Each team missed a field goal. And after one, the rare, scoreless opening quarter at the Holiday Bowl. Time for the second quarter of the 2001 Culligan Holiday Bowl. 3rd time this year Washington was scoreless in the first quarter. 4th time for Texas, the Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Missouri game. We start the second with Washington 2nd and 7. 3 receivers in the pattern. Pickett hit, but he found the tight end, Charlie Stevens. Pulls forward to the 45. Eli Brooks is given away nearly a foot, nearly 80 pounds.
We knew the health of Jeremy Stevens would be interesting in the way it affected Texas's defense. Tyrone Jones is big now. He's 6'4", but he doesn't quite have the athleticism here. He goes down to stay with Stevens. Stevens is not only 6'7", 260 pounds, but he has incredible athleticism, and he's the healthiest he's been all year long. I think when he's healthy, he could be the best tight end in the country.
Texas defensive end Kalen Thornton shake it up, came out on that play. Maurice Gordon fired in there. Looks like we'll see 1st and 5 coming up.
Prior to the snap, offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, still, 1st down.
Here's Jerry.
And guys, all week long, the Washington players have talked about how they played with a lack of intensity at Miami, how much they didn't have toughness when went to Miami, and the embarrassing 58-point margin of defeat, and what a bad taste left in their mouth. They have come out in the first quarter of this game thinking about that one, and the intensity is back for the Huskies.
Gary getting a sense of that over on the Huskies sideline. 1st and 5, the rare fullback run, but it's Willie Hurst in that first back spot, and he has his 1st down. Washington's fullbacks carried only 20 times this year, but they used that wrinkle effectively, going back and watching some of their game tape from this season, with Hurst lining up, dotting the I.
Doc makes an interesting point. You can actually see Washington gaining confidence as this game is going on. Anytime you get beat the way they did in their last game, you want to get back onto the field, but in the back of your mind, you're also thinking about that defeat. As they continue to play this game and have more success, they're becoming more and more confident. That was the triple option there for Pickett on the veer, and a good read for a pickup.
From the 34, they're in Texas territory again, and going for Williams. Incomplete. Jammer jammed him. Williams was able to get a step as the route continued.
Again, Rick Neuheisel using that theory I talked about earlier in the game, attacking the superstar of the other football team to demoralize the football team. Quentin Jammer is by far the best covered man in America, so why not go after him with Reggie Williams and see what you can get? If you do beat him, then you beat the best player, you demoralize a football team. I think that's wonderful strategy on Rick Neuheisel.
Shows confidence in his young receiver as well, going after him.
Drop off the press coverage, little screen for Alexis, who got jostled at the line, did a terrific job of staying on his feet and got out to the 28-yard line. We have a 3rd and 4 coming up after a pickup of 6.
Anytime you're going to throw a screen, it's about the timing. Here, Pickett does a good job of setting it up and then selling it. And then after that, it's just a matter of Alexis getting and setting up the blocks. Watch how he kind of sets this first block up here. Once he had it kick out by Zajac, he was able to pick up a few more yards and give him a better chance at this 1st down here on 3rd and 4.
Tackle by Jermaine Anderson, who's in for Kalen Thornton. Washington looking for his first 3rd down conversion. Here's option with Pickett, who gets rocked. Tyrone Jones tied him up for everybody else to get there and have a shot at that right shoulder.
And Derek Johnson, number 11, 6'4", 216. He played the option perfectly, made the quarterback keep the ball, and then watch, he comes from the inside out, and boom, boy, does he stick him. That kid's going to be a sensational football player. Keep your eyes on number 11, Derek Johnson, the rest of the night.
Rest of his career. I think he's the best true freshman defensive player in the nation this year. We saw him play a handful of times, Coach, and he is absolutely amazing.
Anderson missed horribly his first time from 43. Snap wasn't good. Good job by the holder, and Anderson connects. And Skursky did a nice job bailing out the bad snap. And Anderson's 43-yarder, the first points of the night. Washington 3, Texas nothing. The head coaches continue to battle whips. Let's see what our head coaches think. Over to Steve Seifert.
Hey, Mike, it's been fun watching the brain trust to work here. They are working their jobs tonight. Guys, what have you learned about your opponents that you're going to try to exploit down the road?
Well, Go ahead, Jim.
I think Texas is doing a good job defending Washington, but Washington caught them off guard a little bit with the two backs in the backfield and can hurt them with the option and working on their backers.
Well, I think as far as Texas is concerned, they have a lot of offense available. The reverse and the run have given the pass good pass protection time, and Major seems to be dishing the ball off to second receivers really effectively. They have a lot of offense available right now.
All right, fair enough. Guys, they're taking stands and calling plays ahead of time. To follow the fun, all you have to do is log on and click the enhanced TV logo on ESPN.com. That's all you have to do to follow this fun.
All right, Steve, cool. It is. It's kind of neat, and there's also some options as well for folks at home to relive the history of these schools. Mel Kiper also has a breakdown of pro prospects for some of the people in there. Boy, there's plenty of that in this game.
Not only for this year, but for the years to come.
Absolutely. There are 3 Williams in this game who may be first-round top 10 picks over the next 2-3 years. Mike Williams, the lineman from Texas. Roy and Reggie, the receivers for the Longhorns and Huskies, respectively. Booming kickoff through the end zone and a touchback. Good job by John Anderson. I've been telling you about our Verge Friday. Here's what the ESPN.com site looks like if you click on. The million-dollar question: who should be the Texas starting quarterback, Major Applewhite or Chris Sims? You can be part of those polls and watch some real-time stats on the bottom as well as the coaches call plays along the way. Well, it is Applewhite starting in his final game. And he's been okay so far, considering he hasn't started a game all year. See if the offense can continue that passing control he was talking about. They split out Ike, and Applewhite looks for the tight end. It's intercepted. Bo Scaife got a hand on it, but on the deflection, Ben Madavi comes up with the pickoff.
Mike, there's the timing that you were talking about earlier in this game. He threw behind Scaife here. He had him open if he makes an accurate throw, but by throwing behind him, Scaife did a good job just to come back and get a hand on the ball, and in doing so, he put it up in the air for Madavi to make the interception.
You know, in 1999, when Major Applewhite was playing all the time, he threw 156 times without an interception. That's a school record. You can tell he hasn't played a lot this year. That ball was not a well-thrown football.
Good pressure coming in also to rush the timing from Jerome Stevens. Turnover. See what Washington does with it. Stevens in motion. Pickett to throw. For Williams. Incomplete.
I need to bring up one stat. It was very important. Colorado scored 24 points after Texas turnovers in the first half, and that's why they bombed Texas. Texas has not stood up to the plate when the other team has played very, very well and got a turnover. So it's very important psychologically here for the Texas defense to hold them to 3 after that turnover.
This is the 4th time Washington's in Texas territory. You don't get down here very often. You have to start coming away with some points. So, although Washington has momentum, I think this is an important drive. Take it back to the air with time. That was almost intercepted. Ahmad Brooks almost had the pick.
Washington has struggled in the red zone all year long. I think it's because they a little bit more one-dimensional this year, relying on Pickett throwing the football. Go back to last year, and Marcus Tuiasosopo on the option attack and the play action, it was very difficult to stop him in the red zone. This year, because they don't have that running game, it's a little bit more predictable with the play calling down inside there.
Williams, bottom of the screen, matched up with Rod Babers here in man coverage. Not Jammer. Pickett in trouble. That's incomplete. It went off of Wilbur Hooks, who lined up down here against Babers and knocked away.
That to me was a perfect example of Babers, Brooks, Vasher, and Jammer, 4 corners playing in the defensive secondary, because they tried to isolate the 2 inside people, Brooks and Vasher, with receivers, and they ran right with them. Boy, that was awful nice coverage on those defensive backs part against the Washington receivers. 4 corners and playing in those 4 secondary people. You said that in the pregame show. And that was a perfect example
to play his style of defense, as much man coverage as he likes to play. You have to have guys who can run.
Anderson, who made his last one from 43. From 43 again. After as ugly a field goal as you could have, John Anderson's come up with 2. They turn the turnover into 3, and Rick Neuheisen's team leads by 6. 6-0 Washington. Our aerial pictures courtesy of the Goodyear Blue Beagle, based in Carson, California. Goodyear currently operates 5 airships around the world, 3 here in the States. The spirit of Europe and the spirit of the Americas in South America. Luis Navarro, our cameraman tonight. Washington 6-0 back-to-back 43-yard field goal. John Anderson, a booming kickoff last time that resulted in a touchback. Same thing here. Irvis Hill just lets it bounce. College football, as soon as it hits the end zone, it's a touchback. Well, Major Applewhite hit his first 4 passes. Since then has not had the same success, including the interception that led to the last field goal.
The thing about Major, though, Mike, he'll come right back in there and make that next throw. He's able, because of his experience, to shake off the mistake that he just had.
Victor Wright looking for room to run, getting it out to the 26-yard line. Certainly a little bit of a run game will help him out. He'll mark it back at the 25. Jerome Stevens with the tackle. Of course, Applewhite gets to start after Chris Sims comes to the bench. And people forget how good a season Chris Sims had. He broke Major Applewhite's record for single-season touchdowns. Everyone wants to remember immediately the 2 games, the Oklahoma game and the Colorado game. They forget the other 10 where Sims was good enough to be second, or in some cases, 3rd team all-conference. Victor Wright is stopped. What a push from Stevens up front, really having an impact. Kai Ellis made the tackle, but it's Stevens and Triplett. There's such a surge up there from Washington.
And you go back to the Sims situation. Remember, though, the Texas fans were concerned that Sims could not win the big game. He lost last year's Oregon game here. Turnovers. He lost Oklahoma game. Turnovers. He lost the Colorado game. Turnovers. That's their gauge, winning big football games, not those games that they could win with anybody.
You tell me he lost that game last year in this building for turnovers, and I said baloney.
Well, he had 4 turnovers.
3rd and 6. Underneath, skates the tight end. He's going to come up short of the first down, though. Had to get to the 30. He's a yard shy. They'll have to kick it away.
The other thing he did, Mike, is he was able to win 10 games, only the 2nd time since 1983. And you think about the history of Texas football, you kind of think about the great history, but the recent history has not been as dominating as they would like. But Chris Sims needs to keep his chin up, because next year could be a great year for the Horns with him under center.
Ryan Bradford's kick is fair caught by the backpedaling freshman Charles Frederick at the 24-yard line. Let's look ahead to our Capital One Bowl Week lineup and the NFL as well. ABC's Monday Night Football is on Saturday night this week. The Baltimore Ravens visit Keyshawn Johnson and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We get it going with Monday Night Countdown presented by UPS. 7:30 Eastern. Brian Cox is going to join us in the studio.
What do you mean us?
I will be back in Connecticut.
You're doing that?
No
On the way down to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. Yeah.
Come on.
No, there's no way.
It's a direct route. San Diego, Red Eye to Bristol, and down to New Orleans.
They must have cloned you. There's got to be more than one Mike Tirico to be all those places.
I look forward to it. It'll be a great trip tonight.
Perfect.
That's tomorrow night. Here's Pickett on first down. Elstrom on the run to the 37-yard line. It's a pickup of 13 on the play.
You know, what's funny is every quarterback has that one guy who's like a security blanket. We met with Cody Pickett. We were talking to him. I said, okay, forget about all the speed that Washington has now. Who's the guy that when it's third down or you need to make a throw, who are you looking up? He started to smile and he said, Todd Elstrom. Todd Elstrom runs the exact same route. He's at the same place every time. I know where to count on him, and he's the guy that I look up when I need to make a completion.
After his third catch, Hurst for a couple. What an athletic play by Derek Johnson to make the tackle. You saw the hometown for Elstrom, Puyallup in Washington. Of course, that's where the Hewards were.
Corner low backside. It was 5 slots last time. Okay? Now, good to you guys, safeties. We got a quarters match.
Bobby House, secondary coach, working with the DBs. So I mentioned the Hewards. Mike Heward, the head coach there. Brock and Damon, the quarterbacks. Of course, Billy Joe Hobart went to the same high school in Washington that's turned out so many successful players. The rodeo kid from Idaho, Pickett, 3-step drop to Elstrom again. The 41-yard line. So it's going to leave them with 3rd and 5 after the Roderick Babers tackle. Mentioned Cody Pickett, the cowboy from the rodeo background. He's dabbled in rodeo a little bit. Will never be as successful as his dad, who recently retired as one of the great rodeo performers of all time. 3rd and 4. Deflected and incomplete. Tried to set up a little short pass, but Jermaine Anderson, seeing a lot of time because of the Kalen Thornton injury, made the play. And for the 6th time in 6 tries, Texas stops Washington on 3rd down.
So when it becomes 3rd down, the Texas defense, the defensive line and the linebackers, their ears get pinned back and they're coming after Cody Pickett. When you have the kind of secondary that Texas has, you can afford to do that. It puts a lot of pressure on not only on Pickett, but the offensive line of the Washington Huskies as well.
Derek McLaughlin, the freshman, to kick. Texas might come after this one. Here they come. Good kick. Thatcher for the 15. That could be flagged for the bubble violation. And that's why that rule lacks common sense. You tell me how it was humanly possible for Wilbur Hooks to slow down and stay out of the 2-yard bubble. Understand you're protecting the players. The intent is right. But common sense, you tell me how this guy stopped.
Terrible call. Terrible rule.
Well, the reason why that play is in there, gentlemen, is because of the safety of the receiver.
Right.
We had so many players hurt that they had to do something.
We appreciate that.
So I want to make sure you guys understand that that's it because the players flagrantly hit the guys while he was watching the play. It was for safety of the players. That's why the rule is in there.
Who said it doesn't feel like the holidays in winter in Southern California? Horton Plaza, some skating going on this final Friday of 2001. Let's see if Texas offense can kind of get in rhythm a little bit. They have not been the last few drives, limited to 100 yards and 5 first downs here in the first 21.5 minutes. Applewhite was 5 in the pattern. Trissel, the fullback, for 31. Heavy hit there. Right at the first down mark, and Matt took the worst of that. 6th catch of the year.
Texas offense slowed right now, and a lot of focus on Cedric Benson and whether or not Texas, with him down, would be able to run the football effectively with Victor Ike. And I don't know if they've given him enough of a chance. I think with Benson down, you still have to realize that Washington's defense, if there's anything that's hurt this defense this year, it's teams that can run the ball. They're dead last in the Pac-10 in rush defense. So I know that Texas has made the adjustment and they're throwing the ball, but I think they're getting away from the run game a little bit too early.
What a play.
That's why
by Owen Biddle.
They can't even get to the line of scrimmage because of the pressure. They've got so many guys, Kirk, on the line of scrimmage and just coming forward. Wow.
Owen Biddle made that play. He is Rudy. He was a high school running back, 1,576-yard performer, an all-state player, wasn't recruited by any Pac-10 school. He sent tapes out to coaches, sent 8 tapes to the University of Washington coaches. Finally got a chance, and as a walk-on, he's earned a scholarship and made some kind of play there. 3rd and a yard. First down and much more. To the 46-yard line. So they go Ivan Williams to stretch it out. First carry tonight for Williams.
I think they have to win the battle up front. They're losing the battle, not only the safeties and everybody flying down into the line of scrimmage to take away the run, but we've been talking about Larry Triplett and Jerome Stevens a lot tonight because of the way they're winning the battle up front against the centers and the guards of the Texas offensive line. But I still think they should run a little bit more tonight. See what happens.
And they got the big physical back in there, Williams. Went 3 starts this year and a couple of 100-plus yard performances. Intercepted! Terry Johnson, touchdown! Terry Johnson, a reserve who played in 10 games this year. He had a grand total of 4 tackles all season.
He's the leading scorer in the game so far. Tied.
Extra point try for Anderson. Wow. Last year, Texas fell behind 14-0 to Oregon in the first quarter. This year, it's 13-0 after the 38-yard interception returned by the sophomore from Tempe, Arizona.
Well, Terry Johnson's going to work against the All-American Mike Williams. Watch him sense the throw. Major Applewhite has dumped the ball so much in this football game that the defensive linemen now are starting to smell out the underneath throw.
And one of the most important things, the question comes out now, is what do you do with Chris Sims? Now, I'm saying right now on the sideline that Matt Brown and his offensive staff have got to make a decision in the second half. If Major Applewhite does not need that, they've got 124 yards total offense and no points. I think that they have to go to Chris Sims in the second half here to get Chris Sims ready to play for next year, plus to win this football game. Now, I know Major Applewhite came back and beat Colorado, but he's not playing like Major Applewhite did against Colorado. That's my opinion. Right now, you got to look at Chris Sims eventually.
It is the no-win quandary that's been Texas football for the last 2.5 years. What do you do? You play Applewhite here because you pulled Sims and he gave you the best chance to win. Hey, you let Applewhite get the reward, quote-unquote, close out his season. But then if you go back to Sims, well, you should have done that to start with in the game, Matt.
You can hear half, right now out there in the state of Texas, you can hear half the fans say, stick with Major, and the other half saying, go with Chris Sims. You're crazy. You're right. It's a no-win situation.
I did that internet thing. You know, they call him. What do you call that?
Chat room? It's a chat.
I had 17 questions. 14 of them were about Sims and Applewhite.
Sure.
Telling you.
Applewhite said it best this week. He said, you know, 2.5 years, 365 days a year, 3 times a day. I don't eat. I'm asked. Well, what about Chris?
Yeah.
Do you and Chris get along? What about the quarterback deal? Should you be starting? It's just been a question for 2.5 years. 2 supremely talented, classy kids who handle this extraordinarily well as people. They've become friends through all this. But it's football that people are concerned with here tonight. See if Applewhite responds. It's still the second quarter. There's a throw to escape the tight end. Up to midfield, 31st down yard. On to B. Davis. The free safety made the tackle. Pass caught by Chris Sims' roommate.
Poscape has the athletic ability to get up the field vertically. 6'3", 245 pounds out of Denver, Colorado. And here with safety split down the hash, it's a great throw by Major Applewhite to lead Scape right down the middle of the field. And right over the top of the cover there by the linebacker.
The reason why that play was open, Kirk, is both the free safety and the strong safety are playing cover 2.
Sure.
And they split out wide, tight end up the middle. Good call by Greg Davis, the offensive coordinator.
Applewhite Applewhite, timing throw to Sloan Thomas. Incomplete. Well, on this Verge Friday, we're polling as part of the ESPN.com site. Should Texas pull Major Applewhite? And what you were talking about, Kirk, this instant poll, over 7,000 people immediately respond and say no to this point. And yeah, you have to. I agree with them. 6:16 left first half, plenty of time, score a touchdown on this drive, ease into the game. Part of the problem has been the guys getting jerked in and out of the game.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want the quarterback looking over his shoulder after he makes a mistake.
Applewhite is 8 of 13 with 2 interceptions here tonight. Shovel pass. Just got it off to Brett Robin in the nick of time.
That is one of my all-time favorites. That play was invented by a guy named Cactus Jack Curtis in Utah with Lee Grosscup. It used to be called a shovel pass. What happens is he comes back, Utah pass. Everybody comes at him, he pitches it underhand, and it's not like a draw play, only a flip forward. Key point there, if he drops the football, it's an incomplete pass.
I was going to say, you scared me. I thought you were going to forget the cover.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, no. Lee Grosscup made that play famous for Cactus Jack Curtis, Utah, 1,000 years ago.
AARP stuff there for you.
Breaking it down, man.
3rd and 3. Applewhite looking for the home run. B.J. Johnson. Caught it. Touchdown. A 43-yard touchdown pass. For Johnson, it's his 5th on the season. Dusty Mangum adds the extra point, and Texas is back within 6. Now it feels like a Holiday Bowl.
Now it's the Holiday Bowl. B.J. Johnson in one-on-one coverage on the outside against Chris Massey. The ball thrown right over the shoulder. Outstanding concentration by the wide receiver, B.J. Johnson. And you can see Major Applewhite saying, guys, way, way too early in this game. We got a long way to go.
You know what?
24th Culligan Holiday Bowl at Qualcomm Stadium here in San Diego. 11 of the prior 23 have been decided by 5 or less. And the underdog Washington jumped out to the early lead. And the Longhorn fans finally let loose a little bit as they're on the board with B.J. Johnson's touchdown catch. His 6th career catch of 40-plus yards. 5 of the 6 have been for touchdown. A short kick taken by Charles Frederick. He found a lot of traffic and is brought down at the 27-yard line. Applewhite 3 of 4 for all 80 yards on that touchdown drive. 43-yarder by Johnson to close it out. This is the 7th Longhorn possession of the night. Applewhite talks with Chris Simpson. Chance Mock, who is the 3rd-string quarterback. Let's see what Cody Pickett and the Washington offense will do. They have yet to score a touchdown tonight. The option look has been snuffed out pretty quickly when it's been the fullback at the top of the eye. Ken Walker, the senior from Honolulu, stopped by D.D. Lewis.
Early in the game, Washington was attacking Quentin Jammer and trying to get the ball downfield to their big, tall wide receiver, Reggie Williams. We have not seen them go to that for the last probably 2 or 3 possessions.
Huskies have run it 12 times and gained just 32 yards on the ground. Remember, this is the toughest defense to move it on in the country. Pickett, pump and go, safety help, and it's intercepted by Nathan Basher. He was going for Todd Elstrom.
The ball is intercepted.
And the Longhorns have it near midfield.
By number 3, Nathan Vasher.
Nathan Vasher is just a supreme athlete. We've been talking all night about the Texas secondary, how you have 4 cornerbacks playing back there. And in fact, Nathan Vasher next year sitting back at safety, waiting to make the catch. Next year will be moved to corner and replace Quentin Griffin. These guys take a lot of pride back there, and the leader is number 5, Ahmad Brooks.
7 interceptions on the season for the likable Vasher, whose nickname is ESPN3. He watches ESPN constantly. Watch out for a home run ball shot here from Texas. Applewhite the quick hit to Roy Williams. Madavi takes him out at midfield to pick up the 4.
Line the big fella up there at tight end to get him one-on-one with Madavi at linebacker.
Madavi's a tough guy. Defensive MVP. He's a walk-on, too. I told you Biddle, the walk-on who earned a scholarship at the start of this year. Last year, that very first meeting of the season. Here are the rules. Here's the tone. Rick Neuheisel comes in. Congratulations, Ben Madavi. You have a scholarship. That was the start of 2000. He ended 2001 as the team's defensive MVP. Second and 6. Pressure on Applewhite. There's the home run shot. Incomplete. Johnson and Massey got tied up there a little bit. Applewhite had to get that one out of his hands quickly. One of the world's most enduring symbols. The Goodyear Blimp Eagle providing these aerial pictures tonight in San Diego. Goodyear Blimps travel over 100,000 miles every year covering major events. Hope it's not leased at 100,000 miles a year. Severe penalty to pay.
Really surprised with the way Washington's getting so much pressure on Major Applewhite nearly every time he drops back to throw with their defensive front.
This is 3rd and 6 for Williams. Got away, got a block. Stopped shy of the first down to the 45. Greg Carruthers with a big hit.
I mean, talk about a big hit. Greg Carruthers right there makes the play that keeps him from getting the first down and leading on to the touchdown. Carruthers is 6'2", 190 from Helena, Montana. Boy, that was a great play. Now, the key point here, does Texas go for it if it's 4th down and short yard?
First, they're going to measure. And I believe by the spot they are a foot short. Maybe slightly less.
Mac Brown ran the punting team out, and then when they found out they were going to check to see how close this is with the sticks, they pulled him back, and now they look like they may decide to go for it.
I would go for it, and I'd run the ball right over number 63, Mike Williams, the right tackle. The reason I would go for it is because I think if you can get a first down here and keep momentum, you'll get at least 3 points and get something back and make it like 13-10, if nothing else. I would go for it right here because my defense is playing very, very well.
They're pumping them up in that huddle, so gonna give it a shot.
Basically, when it's 4th down and 1, they've done enough study and knowing the personnel and everything else. But when in doubt, you give the ball over the right tackle, number 63, and I would give it to that Ivan Williams, who's about 235 pounds, and number 26 inches for the ball game. That's what I would do.
What about the old quarterback sneak, AARP style?
This kid's not big enough for the AARP quarterback.
All right.
He's like a feather going against there. I would give it over the right tackle.
Williams.
Left tackle. Good call.
Robbie Doan, who shut down North Carolina's Julius Peppers. Their regular season matchup. And Texas picks up a 4th down. They'll keep the drive alive here at the 3:44 mark, first half.
That Ivan Williams is 6'1", 235-pound sophomore from Cleveland, Texas. He got some body movement off the line of scrimmage. That kid's a nice-looking football player. I'm glad he's got... I would rather have him in there in this type of game than Ike because I think he creates more push forward.
Seems like the last time we saw him was in Dallas against Oklahoma.
Applewhite, incomplete. communication with Williams. Actually, good coverage also. Make the safe and smart one. Texas is going for win 11 tonight. Matt Brown sat in the room with us the other day, and I asked him, how do you scrape these guys off the ground after Colorado? Because your championship dream was right there. And he said, good question. And we sat down as a staff and said, guys, you can get win 11. That has only happened 4 times in school history. Lean on the pride. Build the foundation. Take it to the next level. Finish in the top 10 for the first time since 1983. That's what Texas' goal is here tonight. You can say it, but you have to buy into it as well. Williams came back, made a great play, but Omari Lowe was all over him. A gain of less than a yard. Let's send you to the studio. Chris Fowler, what do you have for us at halftime?
Well,
thank you, Dr. Verge. We'll see you at the half of this Verge Friday. The guys in the studio. 3rd and 10, needing to get to the 32 to keep the drive alive. Corner pressure perhaps from Alexander. Here comes number 3 in white. In that same spot goes Roy Williams. First down to the 35.
Talk about it every week. A side adjust from the quarterback and the receiver. Once the blitz comes, you're going to see the receiver make the adjustment here. And this is the thing that is very, very difficult for his safety to come up and make the tackle. Right here, Davis has to make that tackle. When you're a defense coordinator and you bring the corner and rely on that side adjust, you're hoping that the safety will make the tackle short of the first down and force the field goal. And that time he could not bring down Roy Williams short of the sticks.
Wandamy Davis didn't make the play. 1st and 10 Texas from the 25. Applewhite pumps right, goes left. Touchdown Williams! Great adjustment! The legend adds to it.
Referee ruling a touchdown.
All even at 13, and the extra point could put Texas ahead. Imagine the Longhorns have scored back-to-back touchdowns. Before he played a game in Austin, they called Roy Williams the legend. For 2 years, he's been adding to it. 7 touchdowns this year. First one in this game. 2 touchdown passes, back-to-back drives for Applewhite. We've checked out the Gas Lamp Quarter this week. Downtown San Diego. Great restaurants. Nice feel for that downtown area.
Outstanding.
You like that, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
A couple of good dinners down there.
I had to kind of ease into it there. First night.
A little Mexican, a little Italian.
But we apped up, right?
Oh, appetizers.
We're big appetizer group.
It's the key to the meal. If you invite us to dinner, go appetizers heavy.
Heavy on the apps.
Bring them to the middle of the table, split them up. Well, it's just like this offense for Major Applewhite or Christian. There are so many options. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Works out just fine. Last 2 drives have been excellent. 14-13 they lead. Charles Frederick. Been well covered on these shorter kickoffs by Texas thus far.
It's interesting when we were going that chat with Dick Tomey. He mentioned that. He said that as the Texas coach, he felt like he still had a lot of options, particularly the wideouts. That was a good call on Dick's point.
Let's check in with Jerry Punch while we have a second.
And, guys, our pleasure to visit with the president and CEO of Culligan, the title sponsor of this bowl game, Mike Reardon. And, Mike, I got to ask you, what has your involvement in this game done for your company?
Well, Dr. Jerry, it's been great to help us grow the revenues of the Culligan business, particularly in our bottled water business and our home drinking water systems. But more importantly, it's helped us to improve our brand awareness to a more youthful audience around the world.
I got to ask, we'll go back upstairs and come back down in just a moment. Mike?
All right, Doc, first down, Pickett. Finds some space and throws to Stevens. Complete. Tight end for about 6 yards. Go ahead, Jerry.
And, Mike, for those who may be looking to get involved in advertising, why choose collegiate athletics? I mean, obviously, you came here 4 years ago. It's the 4th year being involved with this bowl. Why come to college football?
Well, first thing, The guys out there drink a lot of our product, water. But more importantly, the youth of America today is interested in hydrating themselves and in drinking good water. And the Culligan man can provide that. So we think it's the future of the business. Culligan's been around for 65 years, and I think this is a great way to expand our market.
Well, you've been the Culligan man here in San Diego for 4 years, so thanks for your involvement in the Culligan Holiday Bowl.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you to ESPN.
There goes Reggie Williams across midfield into the 46. First down, minute 39 remaining here in the first half.
On the tackle, number 6,
Inside move here by Williams, and this is something that he's had an opportunity here in the first half. One-on-one opportunities against Quentin Jammer. He's won some battles. He's lost some battles. That time wide open and a nice throw by Cody Pickett.
22 yards there. They have a full complement of timeouts. Pickett's pass is caught by Patrick Reddick. Ball came out. Looks like Reddick got it right back. The senior from Newbury Park, California, did just that at the 27-yard line.
Give Cody Pickett time to throw. He's a dangerous man back there. Good back, coaches. Good back, coaches. Okay, the biggest difference with this Washington offense this year is they can get the ball downfield vertically. They haven't had that since Rick Neuheisel's been in Seattle.
Pickett over the middle. Stevens, tight end, first down at the 15-yard line. Pickett took a shot from Stevie Lee. And going to stop the clock here at 1:14. Good-looking clock drive, huh?
On the tackle, Johnson.
74 seconds before Chris Fowler and company join us with the Dodge College Game Day halftime report. The Aggies and the Frogs. Our early game today, the Sylvania Alamo Bowl, and they'll get into the conversation of the best all-time Longhorns, the online poll. You can participate in as well. Dodge College Game Day halftime report in the studio. And then Chris will be headed out to Pasadena to join you guys. You heading up for Rose Bowl coverage, College Game Day on New Year's morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific.
4 o'clock meeting.
Oh, is it 4 a.m. meeting?
Yeah, we'll 3
a.m. wake up call.
We'll call them. There'll be 6 or 7 people there with us watching the show.
No, they'll be out there. They'll come right over for the parade. All the parade folks will be over there. Have you been to the Rose Parade in Pasadena before?
I haven't been.
You haven't? Have you been?
No, we've seen the build-up, though, and the excitement of the community. I think they really get excited about the parade, maybe even more so than the game. That parade is big.
Parade is special. It'll be different this year. The parade and then no game right after the parade with the national championship game, the Rose Bowl presented by AT&T a couple of days after. Good drive here by Washington, the Rose Bowl champions on New Year's Day 2001. Pickett deflected. Stevens is angry that he was knocked down. 69 seconds, 2 timeouts.
Texas has been down here before, down in the red zone, or Washington rather.
That's right. This is the 5th time they've been down in Texas territory and have only come away offensively with 6 points.
That's right.
The touchdown came on the interception. Pickett complete to Williams. Jammer swings him out of bounds. So they continue to wind the clock. The 59-second mark. I guess they said forward progress there. So Washington will use its second timeout. Make sure as a team called timeout or out of bounds. There's a little bit of confusion here. I guess there is no team called timeout. I saw one official winding the clock. Third and 3. Maurice Gordon is saying Washington induced him to come offside.
Maurice Gordon jumped when Cody Pickett moved his left leg to move the man in motion.
I agree with you, Kirk. I think it's going to be on Texas Offside.
Down here, it'll be half the distance to the goal, and that should be enough for a first down. Ball is at the 8.5. Taking it to the 4 1/4. Get you past the first down stick at the 5.
Try to the snap. Offside. Defense. Half the distance to the goal. The yardage result. First down.
On third downs, defensive linemen typically dig in and get ready. And you can see right when Cody Pickett moved his left leg to send Reggie Williams in motion, Maurice Gordon jumped the gun, came across the line.
This is where number 14, Jeremy Stevens, at 6'7", 260, the Washington tight end. Kirk's been talking about him all day. But this is in the end zone area, the red zone, where he can be tremendous because he can out-jump people. If I was Washington, I'd try to get the ball to him.
Yep, I think I'd give him an option route. If he has one-on-one coverage, give him an option to take the defender to the inside or to the outside and put the ball in an area where only he can make the catch.
That's the guy right there.
His 2000 was the best tight end season in Washington history. 43 catches, 600 yards, but broke his foot on the second play of the second game this year, the Idaho game, and did play towards the end of the season, but just was not himself.
Is he coming out, or is he going to stay in? Do you guys know?
He did not tell us. The only thing go ahead, Mike.
He told me that his decision was kind of altered slightly because of the injury. Everybody has assumed he's coming out. He's not 100% sure, and I said, now that you're healthy, if you have a big game here tonight, does that mean it'll hasten your decision? You're more likely to go? He said, no, it won't be based on one night. Excuse me, it'll be based on, is it right for me? Part of him wants to come back and finish strong at Washington.
They're going to be a great team next year. He's, without question,
he's a major leaguer.
One of the most gifted tight ends in the country. And he said he's by far just the healthiest he's been all year. He feels good.
First and goal, they have 3 tight ends in the game. Westra in motion. They might throw to one of them. Take it. Touchdown! Joe Collier. First touchdown for the senior from Spokane.
This is a perfect illustration of Jeremy Stevens, number 14, being the decoy, and number 97, Joe Collier, also 6'7", 260, coming around in a bootleg. Jeremy Stevens, by going out into the area, drew the defensive man with him, and that's why Collier was wide open for the touchdown.
5-point difference, but very early in the game, so Neuheisel goes for 1. With John Anderson's kick, it is 20-14. That was the first career touchdown for the senior Joe Collier. Stevens gets all the pub, and when he was injured, Collier started 5 games. He had 1 catch in his first 3 years, 7 this year, and he gets his first career touchdown in his final game as a collegiate performer.
Well, that was a sensational drive by Cody Pickett and the offensive coordinator Keith Gilbertson. Pickett, 6 for 7, 72 yards and a touchdown on that drive. You know, Keith Gilbertson is a legend in the Pac-10 area as being an offensive coordinator and a great football coach. He was the last Cal coach to win a bowl game. In 1993, when he's the head coach at Cal, Keith Gilbertson beat Iowa 37-3 in the Alamo Bowl. And right there, that man is credited with being probably one of the smartest offensive coordinators in all of the Pacific Coast region. Former head coach at Cal.
Gilby's done a great job. Offensive coordinator of that 91 team, the #1 scoring team in Washington history, the team that won the national championship, shared it with Miami. The high point of Husky football. This was the Pac-10 team of the 90s, guys. They won 70% of their games, 82 wins in the 90s. They lead here by 6. And a touchback. Speaking of Washington history, rich in tradition, 625 wins, who is their best all-time players. It's George Wilson from back in the 20s, or you come a few decades later to Hugh McElhaney. Just say the name, and the legend is so and part of Washington football. More recent days, you have Steve Ettman and one of the great running backs, Napoleon Kaufman, the all-time leading rusher in UW history. ESPN.com, you can vote, and we'll have the results of the all-time polls for Washington and Texas in the second half. All right, let's see what Applewhite will do here from the 20 with 47 seconds left. Washington drops 7 in coverage. Little shovel pass to Brett Robbins. Got out to the 36-yard line. Texas will keep going. 2 timeouts left and now stop the clock. 39 seconds.
I can't tell you how much I love this play. Let me tell you why the play is so good. What it does, it allows the defensive lineman to come in and rush the passer. Then he flips the ball in a little pitch out to that man. In that case, it was Brett Robbins. But the key to the thing is you allow the lineman to rush in and you slip it to him. It's a draw, only you flip it to him instead of hand it to him. Boy, I love that play.
Robin caught 16 balls this year for the Longhorns. Certainly a part of their pass game. He's from Austin. So many of the Texas players are in-staters. As a matter of fact, 87% of the UT roster in-state players. And Mac Brown is such a great recruiter. I'd love to, you want to talk about a TV show to create? I'll put 3 high school kids, respected Division I football players in a room with Mac Brown and Rick Neuheisel. I'll let them put the recruiting pitch on. And they are 2 of the best.
Let's put 4 in. That way 2 guys can, 2 guys are going to go to Texas and 2 to go to Washington.
It's not to say the other guys aren't good around the country, like Steve Spurrier and Bobby Bowden and all the guys. But these guys have that charm to kind of light up a room, and they make Seattle and Austin even better than those cities are. That's hard to do because those are 2 fabulous cities and great state universities.
Texas has 118 players on his roster, 102 from the state of Texas.
1st and 10. We're at the 36. With 1 timeout still to use. And deflected and intercepted. That's Marquise Cooper. What a bizarre first half. It's been Cooper, Terry Johnson with interceptions. Joe Collier caught a touchdown. And now Washington 2 timeouts, 33 seconds, can add to its lead.
Scaife earlier in this game got a hand on a football and was intercepted by Madami. This time he gets a hand on the ball right into his hands and he kicks it back up again, and this time Cooper makes a big interception, and Washington's going to try to come away with some points here and a lot of momentum going in at halftime.
This is where stats lie. 3 interceptions by Major. That one's certainly not his fault.
Huskies take over first down at 10.
A great opportunity here. Pickett, the pocket collapses. He takes off, gets to the 35.
Got 2 timeouts, so you want to use one of them.
He was getting up looking for the face mask penalty, but needed to save those couple of seconds and call timeout. Washington leads by 6. Let's check in with Steve Cyphers.
All right, Coach Don, what are your impressions so far? How are you playing?
Been some great momentum changes, and our team practiced the 2-minute all week, and they're getting a lot of chances to run it.
Do you have a play coming up?
Yeah, I think they're going to try to hit Williams on a crossing route.
All right, Coach Tomey, how's your play?
Well, Texas just needs to hang on right here and play, because the last defensive stand was so different than the rest of the defensive game for them. They were not good in the last stand. They need to make a play right here to get off the field down 6.
Given any thought to changing quarterbacks, going to Sims?
No, because I think Applewhite showed what he's made out of when he came back. The last interception was a drop ball, and I think they just need to stay right there with him.
All right, guys. Mike, that's it from the Verge booth.
Thanks, Steve. To amplify Dick Tomey's point, 161 yards passing in this quarter for Applewhite, and there's the player that Jim Donnan thinks Washington may be looking his way, the true freshman Reggie Williams, who had 3 touchdowns this season. We said, grade your season, nearly 1,000 yards and 55 catches. He said A-. And Kirk said, A-? What do you mean?
I said, why the minus? And he said, only 3 touchdowns.
And we said, how many should you have to get it to an 8? 10, 15.
Oh, man.
The 35. They release to Hurst. Willie Hurst used that sideline. 23 out of bounds with 14 seconds left.
The pass is complete to Willie Hurst.
Pickup of a dozen.
Tackle made by Dean Lewis. Also in on the tackle.
Got out of bounds there. There was a little confusion. Willie Hurst sets this up good. Good blocking downfield, not only by the linemen, but the wide receivers picking up their men, giving Hurst enough time to get down there and pick up valuable yardage. Little confusion afterwards whether or not he got out of bounds. He, in fact, did, and allowed Washington to get into a huddle and call another play.
Williams, top of your screen. One you see from the play angle. There is Williams on the crossing route that Jim Donnan thought would come, but he couldn't hang on as Quentin Jammer was there with him.
Now that was a National Football League play Sunday by Quentin Jammer. The pass is perfect to Williams, but he plays perfect position. Now watch him come right over here with his left hand and does not make a pass interference call with his right hand. You notice that? The reason why that's not pass interference is he reached on with his left hand and did not touch him in the back with the right hand. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a National Football League play. That's why he's the first ever Jim Thorpe finalist in the history of Texas football.
2nd and 10 with 10 seconds left. Gotta be quick. Pickett for Williams. Great effort. Couldn't hang on. 4 seconds left. From here, a field goal attempt would be 41 yards. Williams is hurt. He sacrificed and laid out on that one. A classy move by the Texas medical staff as they came over to check on Williams and just keep him there for a second till the Washington training staff comes over.
Came down on that right shoulder.
That time working on Nathan Vasher.
A lot of times when you come down, it's either the wind got knocked out of you or possibly the shoulder, because a lot of the momentum came on that right side. See him turn his body after he misses the ball, comes down right on the right side, and yeah, that could be just the wind knocked out of him as well, because he's up on a knee.
Vasher does a nice job here.
Yeah, he does.
To hang with Williams, because Vasher doesn't have the physical presence that Quentin Jammer does. Giving away 20 pounds and a couple of inches. Banner year for Williams as a true freshman. Comes off gingerly. I'm sure they'll send him right over to the locker room with just a few seconds left before halftime.
He's the first true freshman in the history of Washington to start a game at the beginning of the year. And he did it against Michigan. As I said in the pregame show, he only caught 4 passes for 134 yards against the Big Blue in the opener.
And he
Not bad.
would have had a touchdown, but he ran out of his shoe on that play down the sidelines. And then in their big game, the Apple Cup, he had 203 on 11 grabs.
And what's interesting is his final 2 schools were Michigan and Washington. So it was very bizarre for him in his first game out.
Anderson from 40. Well, after as ugly a field goal kick as you could see in the first half, he hit 3 in a row. They take advantage of the turnover with a field goal. After a scoreless first period, 37 in the second. Here's Jerry with Matt Brown.
Coach, offensively, you struggled a little bit earlier. Your senior quarterback brought you back, but turnovers and the lack of a running game has hurt you a little bit in the first half.
Well, I think turnovers have hurt us the worst, Jerry. We've got 14 points on the board. If we didn't put our defense in a tough spot, we'd be in good shape during the ball game, and turnovers hurt us last time in the championship game. So we got to correct the turnovers. We've got to force some. They've gotten points off their 3. They've gotten 13 points off, or 16 points off 3, 13 points off 3 turnovers. We got 7 points off 1 of our turnovers. We got to get more turnovers, and we had the total momentum with 1:44 left in the half. They take the ball 82 yards and score. We get the ball the second half. We got to go back. This is going to be a typical Holiday Bowl where it's crazy and both teams are going to score some. We got to get the momentum back to start second half. They're a good team.
Defensively adjusted all to stop the short passing game?
Well, the thing we've got to do is play better. We're not getting any pressure on them. They're keeping a lot of guys in the block. They've done a good job with the screen, good job with misdirection. We got to play better on defense, and we're playing.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Mike?
8 turnovers in their 2 losses, 3 turnovers in the first half. Texas is down 9 to Washington at the Culligan Holiday Bowl. Got a big halftime show, Chris, but I'll be watching you, pal.
Well, Mike,